Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world. And welcome back to another Liverpool news episode for you guys this evening. How are we all? It has been a while since we've streamed. I think it's 4 or 5 days, chat. I think, but yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be obviously talking to all of you wonderful people, and of course, we do have some news tonight. And of course, we are going to be talking about, of course, Liverpool starting their pre-season already. Of course, the boys did come back yesterday. Of course, Jurgen speaking there with Darwin Núñez. Of course, we're going to be discussing obviously the Reds pre-season. Of course, hopefully a good pre-season for the Reds as well. We'll also be discussing about these two gentlemen as well. Of course, yes, both Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones, European champions with England. Of course, the under-21 Euros was yesterday. Of course, England beat Spain by 1-0, which of course, good game to be fair. But yes, we will be discussing both Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott as well. Of course, Curtis Jones getting man of the match in the final as well. We'll also be discussing Levi Colwell as well. We're going to be discussing, of course, the England and Chelsea centre half. Of course, obviously there's Liverpool interest there. And of course, we'll be discussing him in tonight's episode. And of course, we will be speaking about Romeo Lavia as well, and of course the concrete interest that is reportedly in Levi Colwell in Romeo Lavia. Apologies. Of course, we'll be discussing him in the show a bit later on as well. Anyway, guys, and of course, if you guys have seen anything in the comments or have seen anything that I have missed personally as well, then do let me know in the comment section down below as well. Anyway, but I want to quickly bring something up a minute, guys, as well. Obviously, apologies if I am a bit pixelated as well. I don't know why I am pixelated at the moment, but hopefully that sorts itself out as well. But yes, I want to quickly, of course, mention, of course, if you guys can see on our homepage, we are now, there's now memberships on the channel. Now, what does that mean in terms of content? What happens in terms of this, that, and the other? Nothing will change drastically, and I'm not saying that in like, oh, we're now a paid service, we're not going to be doing that. Of course, I'm never going to be like that, unless of course it's for a big amount of money. I am kidding, of course. But what it does mean for you guys is that, again, you can get your perks, which of course you get a Cop Council logo next to your name when you do become a member. Of course, I am planning to do of course, gifts or like that you guys can put in the chat as well, in the stream. And what you can also do as well, and what I'm hoping to try and do for you guys, and of course for new members as well, is we do kind of like a Skype call type thing where, of course, we speak to one another, of course, in a call, obviously speaking about Liverpool. Might be after a game, might be after, transfer window or something like that, as well. Try and interact with, of course, the memberships as well. So, of course, if you are interested, I think is it $3.99 I've got it at as well. I think it's $2.99 or $3.99 I've got it at as well. There's just one. It's not a huge amount. It's not like if I'm charging. I think the highest it could have gotten was like 420 quid, which again absolutely ridiculously awful as well. But yeah, of course you can do it. Of course, like I said, it's not a requirement. I'm not asking people to do it, but of course, like to support the channel. Of course, we very much appreciate it as always. And if you don't do it, then we'll become a paid service, I should say. Anyway, as I am looking like bloody Clark Kent right now. Anyway, but of course, let me get into the comments, guys, of course. But I just wanted to say that a bit quickly. Yes, memberships are on the channel if you guys would like to become a member. Again, like I said, I think it is £3. It's $3.99 a month. So again, that's the lowest I could have done it, I think, as well. So again, if you want to become a Cop Council legend, I think is what I got it classed under as well. Of course, you want to become a legend, then of course, obviously, please become a member. Anyway, but of course, let me get out of the in terms of what's the correct word to use? Let me get out to the business type thing, or the business mindset of things. So let's talk about some news chat as well. And of course, how you lot are in the comments as well. But Doug's in as well. Obviously, happy birthday, Doug. Obviously, can we get happy birthdays in the chat as well? Hopefully, everyone's doing well. Oswald's in as well. Good seeing you, mate. Hopefully. Hopefully you're doing well, mate. How do Connor says Pano as well? I'm very good, thank you, mate. Hopefully everyone else is smell. But yeah, I can't talk, chat. It's been a while. Hopefully everyone is doing well as well. Jackson as well saying right the firm. Chaz is in saying big up Connor. Hopefully doing well, mate. Chris is in saying evening, mate. Just come back from my first F1 Grand Prix. How was it, Chris? Hopefully it was good, mate. Again, it was not a boring race. It was a good race, but wasn't that great. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't one of the best British Grand Prix. How was it, Chris? Was it good, mate, as well? Yeah, hoping it was good. What else we have? Was good first 5 laps, kind of until Max retook the lead and ran away. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. To be fair, but if Connor shaved his beard and wore glasses, he would look like double of Clark Kent. Yeah, for some reason I've got dangling hair that like just will not, slip back for some reason. So yeah, I do apologise, chat. Anyway, but yeah, no, again, let me know how all of you are in the comments down below anyway. But we will quickly dive into the news, of course, and of course, like we said, mentioned, the Reds are back in pre-season training. Yes, yesterday the Reds did return to pre-season. Of course, obviously noticeable names: Darwin Núñez, Joe Gomez, Adrian, Joel Matip, Fabinho as well. Obviously, Calvin Ramsey was there yesterday as well. Of course, obviously trying to rehab that knee before he goes out to Preston as well. Obviously, show you, but there, of course, Jurgen Klopp bear hugging Joe Gomez on the floor, which was kind of funny yesterday anyway. But of course, what I did love, and if you guys haven't seen the video of inside Anfield or inside the training, was it Darwin Núñez saying like, "Come on, guys, the holiday's over. We here we go." In English or something like that, and again, it was just absolutely fantastic. Like listening to Darwin Núñez speak very good English. I think he's going to have an absolute wonderful season. I really, really do think Darwin Núñez will be an absolute phenomenal player for Liverpool next season as well. But yeah, just in terms of pre-season, of course, obviously nothing today. I think tomorrow we'll see a lot more things coming out. But of course, obviously the first interaction I think was with Jurgen and Darwin. But there anyway. But yeah, of course, for me, I do think Darwin Núñez is going to be phenomenal next season. Hopefully, this preseason we'll start seeing obviously the good side of Darwin Núñez anyway. But obviously, big thank you to Doug as well. Obviously, big thank you for becoming a new member as well. Thank you very much, Doug. I do very much appreciate it, mate. And of course, happy birthday as well, my friend. But yeah, big thank you for becoming a new member. Or a legend, I should say. Obviously, that's the new phrase we're going for. Hello all, make sure you smash the like and subscribe if you're new. Just kind of a very good day as well. I'm glad to hear that, Doug, very much so. Big up to England winning the third test in the Ashes are still alive. Yeah, no, I saw a bit of the Ashes. They did almost throw it away though, didn't they, Oswald? It wasn't. I don't think it was the cleanest of chances they could have done. But yeah, it is now currently 2-1, I think. As well, again, I'm not huge on cricket, but I do have a good understanding of it. Not, as much as what I could probably give you in terms of football knowledge, cricket knowledge, I'd have absolutely no idea about it. Like, I know the basis of cricket, and that's about it. But I still enjoyed witnessing all drivers live and managed to get a photo of the drivers on the podium. One of my favorites, Norris on the podium, never roared so much when took the lead into the first corner as well. Yeah, no, again, it would have been so nice if you had seen Lando Norris just going in the distance and Max couldn't compete. That would have been perfect, I think. But yeah, unfortunately, that Red Bull is ridiculously fast. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I think, didn't today they matched, or Red Bull matched McLaren's records for the most consecutive wins in Formula One. I think in a season, I think McLaren had 11 I think it was, and now Red Bull have matched it. Which, yeah, again, it's absolutely ridiculous how good that Red Bull is. Nunes will really benefit from all the fresh creativity all around him. Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, you've got McAllister, you've got Szoboszlai as well. Like, Jesus Christ, I think it's gonna be a really fun season, chat. I might be a bit too optimistic on that, but I think if Liverpool can get them to, fully fit and firing on day one, then ooh, like I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what we do against Chelsea. Obviously, it's going to be a 0-0 draw, like it always is against Chelsea. But I just really hope Liverpool turn up this season, and I'm hoping so they do as well. But I completely agree. This is Nunes' season as well. Yeah, absolutely. I think Zeclia is in saying Nunes or Gakpo up top. Personally, I've always said Darwin Nunes. I think Darwin Nunes for me is, Liverpool bought a striker for a reason. I think that Darwin Nunes for me would be that. And for Liverpool to start up front, but then again, also saying that I think Cody Gakpo. I think Klopp will probably go with Cody Gakpo to begin the season with, and then maybe because of the creativity that Liverpool are creating and probably the legs in midfield that we've got now, so you wouldn't have to press as highly. Like, again, we know Liverpool like counter pressing, and obviously with Darwin now, hopefully that will be the case as well. But I think probably Cody Gakpo is a bit better for the system. But I think in terms of goals, I think Darwin Nunes will fire next season, 100%. Have you seen much of Wimbledon at all, Con? I saw Murray get knocked out, and I saw Carlos Alvarez winning straight sets, and that's all I've watched of Wimbledon so far this year. The next time I'll watch now is probably the final. I'm not gonna lie. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, Reds, as well. Yeah, if you could, very much appreciated. Piastri was unlucky today. So, however, good to see two Brits on the podium. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? Of course, if anyone is a Formula One fan in here, maybe we should do a Formula One channel as well. But really disappointed with Mercedes. Like, this was apparently the upgrade that the track that was meant to have all the upgrades didn't bring any. They brought a front wing, and that was it. So disappointing. Top 4 in Europa League trophy as well. I take that now, if I'm being honest. We're gonna win the freaking lot, guys. Gonna win the quads. Wait, what? But would love a Liverpool European final in Dublin. Would be like a home game. Be fantastic, wouldn't it? Be absolutely fantastic. Just give Djokovic the trophy. I think Carlos Alvarez still in the chat. I think he's got a good chance of winning. But yeah, Djokovic is nuts, isn't he? Obviously agreed, says obviously Doug as well. Anyway, but I want to quickly and of course mention bring up to you guys. Well, I want to know your guys' thoughts about, of course, Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott, of course, winning the Under-21 European Championship with England. Of course, Curtis Jones having man of the match performances in both the semis and the final, which of course he's taken that form from the end of last season into the European Championship. Of course, obviously Harvey Elliott having an impact as well, obviously scoring that brilliant lone goal earlier on in the Championship. Obviously not so much being involved in terms of starting 11, but of course he's made an impact when coming off the bench as well. And I think obviously it's good for Liverpool in terms of form. More so, I think, in terms of Curtis Jones. I think a lot of people are having the real conversation now of where is Curtis Jones in this Liverpool team. I think Harvey Elliott, it's as plain as day what his position will be. I think it's going to be backup for Dominic Szoboszlai on that right hand side of midfield, or even as cover for Mo Salah at the moment. But in terms of Curtis Jones, obviously we've got Alexis McAllister coming in. Putting 2 and 2 together, he is most likely going to be Liverpool's left-sided number 10 or number 8 for this season. But I think in terms of Curtis Jones, I don't know about you guys, and I might be a bit mad for saying this as well, but for me, I think he's ahead of Thiago in the current listing. And I know Thiago, I think, as I've said it to you guys, I think Thiago, player-wise, is Liverpool's best player in terms of the midfield. But I think if you were to give a list on what Jurgen Klopp would probably have it as at the minute, I think Thiago is most likely a backup number 6 instead of a backup number 8-10 at the minute. I think on that left hand side, I do think it is, the choice is between Alexis McAllister and Curtis Jones, I think, at the moment. And look, Curtis Jones has earned his place to be in the conversation. For a not for a first team starter, but to push the likes of Alexis McAllister coming in as well. And of course, that's what I think Liverpool have lacked over the last year or two, or even probably more than that. I think that a healthy competition, I think, is excellent for a squad. I think you look at the United sides when I was growing up. You had that front four that would push each other to the limit in terms of Ronaldo, Tevez, Berbatov, Rooney. There's probably even more that I'm forgetting about right now. But that's for me what makes Liverpool better, and it's what I think from probably 2018 to when we won the league. That's what made Liverpool better in terms of every single position there was competition for, probably apart from the front three, where it was Mane, Salah, Firmino, in right, and of course probably apart from Virgil and Ali. I think the rest of the team at the time was very much up for debate. I know that, of course, Trent and Robbo, you could say that their spots were filled as well, but certainly in midfield, where it was very much uncertain who would be starting week in, week out. Obviously, I know we had the main core of Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, but then you had Naby Keita, creating a case at the time. You had Ox as well. When he came back, there was obviously some talk of what could he do even before he got injured as well. The talk was at the moment, of course, he gets into the team for Liverpool, and I think, of course, competition is great for Liverpool in the midfield, and that's what we've been lacking for so long. But I think obviously this European Championship, Curtis Jones is again taking it to the next level in terms of being this the shining light from the tournament. Again, I think he's got 3 or 4 man of the matches, man of the match performances in the tournament, of course. And you could easily turn around and go, oh well, he's 22, he's had plenty of experience, he should be doing those types of things. But then on the other hand, look at the criticism he's had. If he had a poor campaign or poor tournament, people would be going, oh well, he's not backed up the latter stages of the performance for Liverpool into the Euros. But in terms of Harvey Elliott as well, I think it's good for him. Obviously, competition with Szoboszlai, and of course being back up for Mo as well. The two of them getting, of course, another women's medal, and of course we'll now probably have, I think, 10 to 12 days off, I think was said, in terms of both Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott. But yeah, I think this can only be a good thing for Liverpool going forward as well. But again, congratulations to both Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones for, of course, getting a winners medal, because realistically, they are technically European champions. I say technically, they are European champions, I should say anyway. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments as well. And let me know your guys' thoughts on the weird thing I said in terms of Curtis Jones. Do you think that Curtis Jones is now ahead of Thiago in the pecking order? Because for me, like, if we're talking about Liverpool's best 11 right now in midfield, it would certainly be Fabinho, Szoboszlai, and Alexis McAllister. Then down from them, you probably have Curtis Jones, Thiago as the 6, and then Bajcetic as well is also there as well. So Bajcetic, for the number 6 role. But again, I think it leaves up a lot of conversation to see what happens next season for Liverpool. Absolutely, 100%. But I think his first choice. I think his first choice 3 is Diaz, Gakpo, and Salah. Yeah, I would agree 100%. What else do we have? Run the likes up chat as well. Yeah, if you could, very much appreciated. Thiago's a brilliant player, but I would cash in, says Chris. Jones' career has stagnated so far, but the improvement he's made is crazy. If he has a good pre-season on form, you have to start him against Chelsea, says Zane as well. I think he definitely offers that conversation. I think the only thing that would stop it is if Klopp does go with McAllister and Szoboszlai at the start of the season. But in also saying that as well, it would not surprise me if Alexis McAllister started on the right. I think unless anything goes wrong, touch wood doesn't. But as long as everything's good with Alexis McAllister, I think he starts. No matter what. Again, he knows the Premier League. He knows more or less what he's doing. It's then the choice of will Liverpool play on the right, will they play on the left. I think you could possibly play McAllister on the right for the first couple of games of the season, and then Curtis Jones on the left. But then I think obviously when Szoboszlai does come in, obviously the interchange between McAllister and Szoboszlai is there. But I think personally, I think obviously Szoboszlai will be on the right hand side rather than the left. Thiago probably starts big games, possibly. Again, that's the thing. We need to use him as that luxury item, like we've spoken about him since he's joined Liverpool. I should say, again, Liverpool, we've been fortunate enough to have a player like Thiago, but then also unfortunate in terms of how bad it's been in terms of injuries and so on as well. But again, we will just have to wait and see in that regard anyway. But we'd be City's closest City's closest challengers if we got another defender and a DM. I think, yeah, I'd agree. I would put Bajcetic ahead of Jones, as Oswald. Possibly. There is a possibility there. I have a feeling that obviously Stefan Bajcetic will be the backup for Fabinho, but I also have a feeling that Bajcetic might be the backup for Trent as that inside forward or inside fullback. I think that's a possibility for what Liverpool could do. Of course, obviously with Bajcetic playing right back, I think the longest of time for his career. I think obviously he started right back, played centre half, obviously as a 6 and then an 8. So again, it varies, doesn't it, of what Liverpool could do in that aspect of things anyway. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the chat down below as well. Obviously, Oswald saying, if Nat Phillips is going, it's pretty certain we are getting a defender, but another midfielder would depend on who goes first. Yeah, obviously we're gonna have a look in a moment, speaking about Lavia and Colwell. But yeah, it does feel like something like that would have to happen first. But again, that's just speculation, I think, at the moment anyway. But we are going to move on anyway, chat. And we are going to discuss, if we can quickly scroll up if we can. We are going to discuss now Levi Colwell. Now, Fabrizio Romano, of course, was on Born and Red, apologies as well, of course. This is just little snips, of course. Go and check out Born and Red. Of course, Fabrizio Romano was on there about an hour ago, I believe, speaking on Levi Colwell and that situation as well. And what he had to say was that Liverpool are working on both midfielders and defenders. Liverpool have a very strong interest in Levi Colwell, but at the moment it's really complicated on Chelsea's side. They say he's going nowhere. Of course, that's what Fabrizio mentioned. And of course, what he also did say as well, the only chance Colwell will leave Chelsea is if he makes it clear that he wants to leave. Chelsea are insisting, that he's untouchable at the current moment in time. And of course, Fabrizio Romano himself tweeting out earlier on in the day, saying that Chelsea's position on Levi Colwell remains clear, not for sale, part of future project, a new contract to be discussed again soon. Now, what taken from that as well, and what Fabrizio Romano did say, of course, he doesn't like to speculate. He mentioned that in the video as well. Of course, if there are any mods in here, please leave the link for that video from the boys over at Born and Red. Of course, I think they did have them on for about 20 minutes discussing transfers and so on as well. But what Fabrizio Romano did say is that even if Levi Colwell was to tell Chelsea that he does want to leave and he doesn't want to play for Chelsea no more. He wants to leave and go elsewhere. £60 million would not be enough to leave Chelsea this summer, which I think that's huge in that regard. Again, I think I said it to you guys last week. I think that Liverpool are, Chelsea, sorry, are very much looking at 80, 90 million pounds for Levi Colwell at the moment in time. And of course, they have no reason to sell him. Even if he does, I think, say that he doesn't want to play for Chelsea, he wants to go and join somebody else. It does then leave a gaping hole of, how much do Chelsea want? You've seen so far this summer that they've been able to get ridiculous prices for certain players. Like you look at Mason Mount, for example. Mason Mount should definitely have gone for 60 million or 65, whatever it was, to Manchester United, or I think it was 55 raising to 60. In that regard, and again, Chelsea have somehow managed to get what they want in this transfer window. And of course, they have been willing to negotiate with rivals. Of course, going back to Mason Mount, you've seen that in terms of the Mason Mount situation. But I also feel like it's, if Liverpool came in and went, right, there's 60 million, 70 million on the table, they would then turn around and go, no, we're going to do it for 90 million or something like that. And I think we know Liverpool are not dumb. We know Liverpool won't fall for Chelsea's games in that certain aspect as well. But again, when you do look at the left-sided centre opposition, there's not many players there, not many top quality players that Liverpool are after. Of course, I think he did also speak about, I think, Gonzalo Inacio as well, saying that Liverpool have watched him plenty of times over the last couple of seasons, but nothing's really matured there in terms of Liverpool going for a bid or anything like that. But yeah, there's plenty of names, of course, that hasn't been spoken about yet. I think Fabrizio Romano even talked about that in terms of, again, he doesn't want to speculate because Liverpool keep their cards quite close to their chest until it is time to make a move or this, that, and the other. Of course, I think he did mention that Liverpool wasn't very happy that the Szoboszlai news broke, that Liverpool were interested the day before, and then, of course, them activating it. I think Liverpool wanted it very hush hush until it was he was already in his medical in that regard, which of course that's never going to happen in today's football. But I think the way that transfer happened is the way Liverpool like it done. I think obviously with the Jude Bellingham stuff and the things beforehand, I think, and especially I think around Alexis McAllister as well, where so much come out of it before anything was done or anything was even close to being done. I think that's things that Liverpool don't like. So if they can keep the next centre mid, relatively quiet, or when it's going to happen, relatively quiet, or a centre back that we don't know about yet, I think that's very much the time and the place where Liverpool will move on and push for who they want. But of course, it all has to make sense for Liverpool going forward as well. But let me know your guys' thoughts anyway on, of course, Levi Colwell. And let me know your guys' thoughts on whether or not Liverpool will get him. I don't think Liverpool will get him this summer. I think if anything, it'll be next summer. But then you do have to hope then that he doesn't sign a contract extension, because that's what Chelsea want. Chelsea want him to sign that new deal, and then that's Levi Colwell's. He's Chelsea's then. So a lot of Klopp tapping up, I think, it has to be done anyway. Of course, that is a joke, to be fair. But if Nat Phillips is going, it's pretty certain we are getting a defender, and we feel that I was going first. Doug saying, apparently if you order the new away top or home top, Nat Phillips' name doesn't appear, makes me think he's on his way out. Is that really the case? I'll quickly double check that. I will fact check that in a moment, Doug, as well. Let's have a look. Is this possible to do Liverpool away kit? Let's have a look. If you will allow me to do it. One thing I will say as well, obviously, actually, I should have said this before the stream even started. If you haven't, if you are an official member of Liverpool Football Club and you haven't registered for tickets yet, then please go and do so, because again, the tickets, I think the ballots run out tomorrow, as well. I think it gets announced next week, but again, I think it gets Waston today. Do it now. I tried to do it with Jack earlier on. It was an absolute nightmare. Obviously, I did mine earlier on, but obviously, I think 3 weeks ago I did mine. But we had to do Jack's, and yeah, it was absolutely annoying. As of right now, I don't know. I don't know whether or not if you can see that chat, but you can see the 47, but you can buy Nat Phillips' shirt at the minute. So maybe when you check out you can't, Doug. Maybe, but at the minute he is still there. But would have been interesting to see 100%. Doug, that's interesting. I like Nat Phillips, but deserves regular football. Yeah, he does 100%. I still like the look of David Hecko or Henke or Henko. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Hanko? Yeah, Hanko, as a possible. Is that the Colombian centre off? Oswald, let me know. I think he is as well, but can't see us buying Colwell to play on the bench. If you buy for big money, he has to start. I think he would start. I don't think he'd be on the bench, Doug, if I'm being honest. I think he'd slot in at left-sided centre half. I think if you watched him in the Euros, again, he's so controlled on the ball. He's really, really good. Better off getting Ignacio or someone else for cheaper. Yeah, I think that's what Liverpool will end up doing this summer anyway. But Colwell is staying at Chelsea. No way us or Brighton paying that much. Yeah, I think Brighton have already paid or bid 40 million, and it just got instantly rejected. It wasn't even any consideration. It was like, nope, not happening. But then when you listen, I was listening to Chelsea supporters, going on about it, and they were like, "Oh well, he is the future, but he doesn't start in our starting 11 at the moment." And you're like, what? Like, he's probably better apart from Thiago Silva. He's probably the better of all the rest of the defenders. But yeah, just mad. I think if he wants to develop massively, I think he moves on from Chelsea, for being honest. But again, might be another Pochettino where he gets the best out of him. To be fair, but I saw something about that the other day. Just felt a bit bizarre. Yeah, a bit weird. I did see another TikTok that had Matip, Thiago Gomez. Yeah, that was ages ago. Again, I would probably think that realistically, I think that if it was going to be any outgoings, it won't be until again. There's been no one's been linked away though, neither apart from like the obvious fringe players. Yeah, I don't like Thiago. I think Matip and Thiago definitely going next year. It's then who knows. It's also back. I think plays for fun. Oh, okay. To be fair, I'm thinking of the wrong centre half then, for me anyway. But I disagree. But Ashiel is a top defender. It's close between him and Colwell as well. I haven't seen much of him though, from what I've seen personally. But yeah, well, if again, if you say yes, then fair enough. But I'd say he has better. I'd say he's better than Wesley Fofana though as well. Well, I think obviously judging from I spoke to Ant before, so of course Wesley Fofana was huge in terms of when he was at Leicester. Obviously got injured, didn't he? I think last season was a big injury for Chelsea, so I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, again, I think for me, I haven't seen too much on Colwell. Again, I've watched him in the Euros for England. I've watched him twice, or watched him against Liverpool when we had played Brighton last season. Again, he was solid. Obviously, did a good job against us as well. But yeah, it's absolutely. Again, if the price tag is 80 million, again, Liverpool won't be paying that anytime soon. I don't think anyone's going to be paying that, unless of course it is a club that comes in and absolutely destroys the record. But at the moment, of course, you look at centre offs, top quality centre offs. Again, you are paying around that, but again, I don't think Liverpool will pay that. Not this summer now, anyway. Especially because we paid, of course, 70 million euros or 60 million euros, sorry, to RB Leipzig for Szoboszlai, and of course the McAllister deal. Get another midfielder in as well. I think, look, If Liverpool had that investment that's coming in, maybe there might be something there. But yeah, I don't think Liverpool will be spending 80 million on Levi Colwell anyway this summer. But again, I could be wrong, and I hope I am wrong. Because again, he is a top class centre back. Sorry, but yeah, would be mad deal. But 80 mil is mad. But they did ask for 70 for Mount, and sold him for 55 plus 5. So could we get him for 65 plus 5? No, I don't think so. I think judging from what Fabrizio Romano was saying, it would take a mad bid. Like again, I think 80, 90 million would be the case. Because even if he does want to leave, like the Mason Mount situation, again, by the looks of things, even if he did want to leave, they'd ask for that. Which again is a mad price to even ask for. But again, we just have to wait and see, don't we, what Liverpool do. But yeah, Fabrizio Romano, of course, mentioned on that podcast in terms of Liverpool are looking at both midfielders and defenders at the moment as well. Of course, we'll get into the Lavia situation as well at the moment. But the transfer market has gone mad. 50 million for players you wouldn't have looked at twice 10 years ago as well. For some reason, this summer has been a bit mad in terms of price tags. It's either players have gone for extremely cheap than what they should have been going for, or they've gone just up there, like ridiculous pricing in that regard as well. But yeah, it's mad transfer window. Peter Shears is the one doing the rounds at the moment. Yeah, I don't believe that. Personally, Chris. Again, I could be wrong, but there was an opportunity to sign him on a free. What was it? A year ago, 2 years ago, and Liverpool didn't act upon it. Like again, I don't think Liverpool would be doing that. I think that would cost around 40, 50 million to get him out of. Is it Torino he's in at the moment? But again, who knows? Colwell's real price is like 30, 40 million because of English tax, but because we are rivals with Chelsea, that price is crazy. Yeah, it's ridiculous, mate, isn't it? Peter Shares would do at centre back, but I really like what I've seen of Ignacio as well. Ignacio would be my go-to. Again, I've probably watched more Portuguese football than I have probably, I've definitely watched him more than La Liga, I think, over the last couple of years. And yeah, Ignacio would be the one for me on the left side. But again, obviously, I think is it a 35 million release clause for Ignacio, which of course would fit into the criteria of Liverpool being, release clause FC. But again, I don't know whether or not Liverpool would push that button yet, or whether or not, of course, another team would. But again, we'll have to just wait and see what we chat. But of course, we're gonna move on anyway, and we're gonna talk about the main story now, the main topic of tonight's episode, of course, and that is Romeo Lavia. Now, of course, rumored Liverpool target for a while. Now it feels like forever anyway. But according to Florian Plintenberg today, saying that talks between Liverpool and Lavia are concrete and ongoing. Understand there's no agreement in terms of salary conditions yet. As reported, his price tag is around £50 million. Klopp wants him. Obviously, and adding to it as well, very press resistant player. Even in high pressure situations, he loses the ball once in every 10 times and of course that is from Florian Plintenberg. Now, Fabrizio Romano did add to this on that podcast, like I mentioned to you earlier on, saying that all the people at Liverpool believe that Romeo Lavia is a very special player. In the next 2 to 3 days, I believe there will be internal discussions within the club. Now, he did go on to say as well that he believes that Liverpool will discuss internally whether or not to put a bid through for Romeo Lavia. Now, of course, does that mean that of course somebody will be leaving the club in the next couple of days? Will Liverpool just buy Lavia and then try and sell on as well? Of course, he did mention other midfielders. Of course, he did mention Florentino Luis as well from Benfica. Of course, if Lavia couldn't get done, I think Liverpool should go after Florentino Luis again. I think he's got the most interceptions in the Champions League. I think last season for Benfica. I think he's got the most interceptions as well in the Portuguese league as well. which of course you need. I think Liverpool need that type of player in terms of, again, winning the ball back, knowing where the correct positions are. Look how how bad Fabinho was last season at doing that. But in terms of Lavia, of course, £50 million. Again, he's not worth that, in my opinion. Again, another player that, because there's a release clause there, that's in the way. Again, Southampton believe, and strongly believe, that Manchester City will come back in from next season if of course he is still there at Southampton. But what it's also interesting as well, and what I think people don't realise as well, that City have a 20% sell-on clause as well for Lavia, which of course that's another speed bump in the process for Liverpool. And for any other team, to be fair. It's not only Liverpool, of course. Arsenal are interested, Chelsea are interested at the minute. I think even Fabrizio Romano said that at the moment Liverpool are the ones that are the favourites, because Chelsea currently tied in with the Caicedo situation, and of course Arsenal they haven't got any room for him at the moment, because of course they've got Thomas Partey still there at the club as well. Obviously, Declan Rice replacing Xhaka, and you've got I think other players that can play there as well. So again, they're not really pushing for Lavia neither. But again, when you look at Liverpool, if you look at the DMs for Liverpool, you've got Fabinho, you've got Stefan Bajcetic there. Would that potentially mean that Stefan Bajcetic has a different role for Liverpool, or whether or not Liverpool are going to operate, maybe not this year, but if we was to get Lavia, it'd be an interchange between Bajcetic and Lavia. Again, that's another conversation for the squad as well. But of course, if Klopp wants him, I think if Liverpool do think that he is the next generational talent in terms of DM, then of course I think Liverpool will go and do it. But I think 50 million, I just think it's too much. I think if Liverpool can get the deal down to about 35 million, again, I think add-ons will be a big thing in the Lavia deal if you could get it done. But then again, it's a whole different conversation of, can Liverpool get it done? I think that is a big thing for what could happen for the future. Anyway, but just to quickly go back on the Lavia talk and the Lavia conversation. Anyway, of course, Florian Plintenberg saying, of course, but they're saying that, of course, talks between Liverpool and Lavia are concrete and ongoing. Understand that there is no agreement in the terms of the salary conditions as of yet. Of course, it does report that it is a £50 million price tag, and of course, Klopp wants him, and mentioned in terms of the press resistant thing. And of course, Fabrizio Romano is saying that all the people at Liverpool believe that Romeo Lavia is a very special player. In the next 2 or 3 days, I believe there will be internal discussions within the football club as well. That's coming from Fabrizio Romano, of course, obviously on the podcast on Born and Reds as well earlier on. So again, obviously go and find that podcast as well if you want to go and check out what Fabrizio mentioned. I think it's over 20 minutes what he talked about Liverpool as well. Of course, I think he spoke about Trent. I think he spoke about other things as well. There's plenty of other things he talked about in terms of Liverpool. Anyway, but let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments as well. Anyway, but what else we have? It'll be a cold day in hell before Chelsea sell Colwell to Liverpool as well. Yeah, I think that's the only one, isn't it? Just go to Portugal and pay 60 million release clause for Florentino Luis and 35 for Inacio as well. I think there's probably leg room in the Florentino Luis stuff. I think you could get him for a lot less, I think. Anyway, but that's just my thoughts. 38 million release clause for Inacio allegedly. Again, I'd pay it personally. But again, I don't own a football club. I would take either Luis or Lavia. Both can learn off Fabinho, if not replace Fabinho. I think that's the thing. I think with Liverpool, personally, I think Fabinho's contract runs out in 2026. I think for Liverpool, I think the ideal thing for us would be, Lavia comes in. He learns straight away off Fabinho, learns off Klopp, in that role. And then in the next year, or even 2 years, Lavia then takes over the Fabinho role, and then has, that in terms of that experience working under Fabinho, working under Klopp, knowing the system inside out. He'll then be what 20, 21, 20 around that chat. As well, of course, again, there could be probably more for that as well. But I think personally, I think Liverpool would guide him slowly into the team, and then when he is fully ready, then I think he'll just burst onto the scene. But I think that would be the plan. But of course, or not, if that plan actually becomes and goes into action, is a completely other thing for Liverpool anyway. But only negative is that sell-on clause. Yeah, that's a big one. This is why I think Southampton are just adamant for 50 million. This is why I don't think they'll go, okay, well, we'll go and have the 40 million now. That's where I think is the problem for that, and why they haven't said that, oh, okay, we'll come down to 40, is because that sell-on clause. Obviously, if obviously City buy Lavia back, of course, it will be 40 million up front. It won't be the 20% sell-on clause. So again, it swings around about really on what they want. But yeah, I think that is the main negative. I agree with you on that, Chris, as well. But totally off topic again. But well done, Sam Ryder. That was how you do an interview with Martin Brindle. Thought that kind of rude. So awkward. Sam Ryder just made his day. Yeah, again, obviously on the F1. Apologies for talking too much F1 priceless as well. Also says, Dugout, do you think Liberty Media would make good owners for Liverpool? No, I don't. Again, more Americans, chat. Do we want more? Of course, I am joking in that regard, but yeah, no, I don't think they make good owners, personally. Oswald got to be honest, I'm not sure who they are. They own Formula One, don't they? Again, if they want to come in and spend their money on Liverpool and help us with transfers, then sure, why not? But yeah, no, I don't think they would be. I don't think they'd be good owners for Liverpool. Doug, obviously Dugout. Okay, they are owners of Formula One American as well. But yeah, they are American. Liverpool need a centre back and CDM. That's 100% true, Richard. Hopefully doing well, mate, as well. Yes, I think they would. I don't think they would personally. I think they've done a few things with Formula One that's a bit meh, but yeah. Again, they want to come in and spend their money on Liverpool. Happy days. Fabinho needs to get his act together. Last season was our worst player. I don't think he was the number one worst player. I think his form drop off was the biggest out of the team anyway. But yeah, would agree 100%. They would at least put us back in the frame. Boom. Apologies for the terrible pun as well. Says Oswald 45, 5 could 10 maybe, possibly. It could very well do. I think that again the biggest thing and the biggest worry is the fact that personal terms aren't agreed with Lavia yet. But then again, Liverpool might be waiting for a certain thing. Of course, they don't want to go and agree things with Lavia yet without things potentially being sold in terms of, again, that Phillips, in terms of a midfielder in that aspect of things as well. Of course, again, there's so many things I think that Liverpool want to try and do first. I think also Liverpool want to keep their options viable, I think, as well, because at the moment you've got an option of, say, for example, someone might come on the market in 2 weeks' time. The Liverpool go, oh, okay, we'll take a punt on him, and then of course that goes away from the plan of Lavia and so on as well. But then again, something might not happen. I think again there's no real rush now, I don't think, to get another. Of course, I do think Liverpool need a third midfielder, don't get me wrong, and they need a centre half definitely. I think if you were to go which one's more of a priority right now, I'd go probably centre half than third midfielder at the moment. But again, I want a midfielder first before centre half. So again, it doesn't really work out what I'm saying, but it does at the same time. Oswald, I'm becoming a dad. Any dad jokes will smile as well. For God's sake, guys, we don't need that in my chat. Worst player was Gomez last season. I would agree with that. Liverpool need a centre mid. I would absolutely agree with you. But there, mate. Levi Colwell isn't worth 80 million. Romeo Lavia isn't worth 50 mil. It's English tax, inflation, age potential, and overpriced. Absolutely agree, 100%. Richard as well, 1000%. Imagine being owned by Formula One owners. Any injured players goes to pit stop crew. I'm back on the pitch in 5 seconds. Imagine, absolutely imagine. Liberty Media could go for Super League. I'd be against that. And Americanism sport again. Yeah, Super League again. The Super League isn't done and dusted. But you look at the Super League stuff. Juventus got banned today from Europe, which that's mad in itself. Which yeah, it's ridiculous. It's in the chat in that regard. But before we do head off, anyway, guys, I've got a quick. I found something on Twitter that I thought I'd bring it to you guys as well. Speaking about inflation as well, obviously the top 10 Liverpool transfers if they won today. So we'll take a quick look anyway. Of course, there's a few surprising ones for you guys. But as you can see by this chart, of course, we'll have to look a bit sideways to look at the chart anyway. But obviously, Liverpool's biggest ever signings, inflation adjustment or adjusted for the 22-23, obviously by obviously go and follow that account on Twitter as well. But when you look at it again, Andy Carroll in today's money would have cost Liverpool £148.7 million. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Triple Cisse, 127 million. Obviously, Fernando Torres, you got the 114 mil. Stan Collymore, we bought him for 8.5 million back in 95, 96. That would have cost 110 million pounds in today's money for Liverpool. Obviously, Alberto Aquilani as well would have cost Liverpool 102 million pounds. That's ridiculous when you look at it like that. Of course, Stuart Downing, 102. Ali would now be 99 million pounds. To be fair, he's worth every single penny of that. Luis Suarez as well, 96 million, and Xavi Alonso, 94 million as well. Of course, that would be Liverpool's biggest signings, of course, if they did sign him today as well, which I thought was pretty funny to look at as well. But again, Andy Carroll, 148 million pounds. Wow, that would be outrageous if Liverpool paid that in today's money anyway. But again, let me get back into the comments anyway before we do head off for the night. Anyway, of course, I want to be the beekeeper to 12 bees. He's counted 13. Yeah, no, no. I'm not reading the rest of that one, Chris. Absolutely not. Lol as well as Oswald. Chris, I would be buzzing. What do you think? Guy, Jacob Ramsey, and Max Aarons. Don't rate Max Aarons. Ramsey, I think he's good. I think if he has one more good season at Villa, I think a big team will come in for him next summer. And Guy, I haven't seen much of him. If I'm being honest with you. But yeah, Max Aarons, I don't rate personally. I see 5 good signings on there. Ali, Torres, Suarez, Xavi, and Emil Heskey. Yeah, probably. I think that's the one. That top one is shocking though. Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Andy Carroll, 148 million pounds, ridiculous money. Anyway, but guys, big thank you to all of you guys as well for tuning in for tonight's show. Like I did say at the start of the show, of course, if there is anyone just tuning in as well, of course, we do now have memberships on the channel. Of course, obviously, go back to the beginning when I did explain it as well. But yeah, we do have memberships now on the channel. Again, it is, I think, $3.99 a month for, of course, people. Again, you get a Cop Cancel logo on the name now when you comment. And of course, there's all different perks that's going to be happening. Of course, we're going to have gifts. We're going to have emojis for the chat. Of course, we're going to have, of course, like I mentioned, Skype calls for you guys. Again, I might try and do videos where you guys get to see it first, or get to see a preview of it first, and then of course onto YouTube. But all different types of things will be happening with it as well. So if you want to support the channel, we very much appreciate it. As always, of course, we don't have to do it. No content will change in terms of that. Of course, we'll still be streaming on YouTube and that and so forth. But again, obviously, if you'd like to support the channel, then of course, please do. I need the money. No, I'm kidding, of course. But again, big massive thank you. Big massive thank you to Doug as well for becoming our first member, as well, first legend, I should say, on the channel. Yeah, very much appreciated as always. Anyway, but guys, big thank you to all of you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Please hit that subscribe button as well. I believe we're on, and we'll quickly have a look how many we're on. But yeah, if we can get to 30, anyway, guys, it'd be very much appreciated. As always, what are we on right now? We're on 23, so yeah, if we can get to 30, it'd be very much appreciated, as always anyway. But until next time, guys, I'll hopefully see you all tomorrow. Obviously, we'll talk a bit more about the news, of course, if there is anything that does come out, or if there is anything that you guys want to talk about, let me know in the comment section down below for a video as well. But until next time, guys, that's going to be it from me. I've been Connor from the Cup Council. I'll see you all later on. Ta-ra.